Happy Monday. Who's ready to rock and roll? Good morning, FX So Much. How's it going? Good morning, Toro Trading. All right, let's take a look at what we got here. Overall, last night, the overnight session was down, kind of getting a little bit of a correction, which I feel like is needed from from Friday's session, where it just kind of went straight up with no pullbacks. So really, I'm still kind of hoping for longs. Like if we get a pullback to this 280-ish area, that'd be a really good setup for longs. And then this area right here around like 378 to 420 is also a decent pullback area. So if the market opens down and we get a good strong buy up off of either this level or this level down here, I would possibly be looking for longs. And then if the market opens up first and then we get a sell-off, so these are the two areas I'm looking for long. If the market opens up and we get a sell-off, we do have VWAP right here, and then we have point of control. So these would be two possible spots where we could take a short from if the market opens up and we get a sell-off. So for me, we're kind of stuck in a little bit of a range. I would like to see more of a pullback. Let me know in the chat, what are you guys thinking for this morning? What are you guys looking for? There's a divergence between ES and NQ. I haven't looked at ES at all. You're saying that there is a divergence? Oh, ES has a higher high on the 4-hour time frame? Yeah. They're both similar in that they had that big jump up on Friday and they're getting a pullback. So I would say they're not too different. So those are kind of my thoughts. Definitely getting a pullback, or got a pullback last night. Curious to see how the market opens. We don't have any news today. So no news Mondays are a lot of times kind of boring. We have new home sales at 10 o'clock Eastern, and then we have a couple Fed speakers this afternoon, but no big, like, red folder news events. NQ did come down and test this London low, and it has been holding that. And this is a pretty high volume area right here. So it'll be interesting to see if it holds. Yeah, new home sales is a yawner. Yeah, I'm not expecting that to move things much. So really it's pretty much a no news Monday. Yeah, NVIDIA earnings. We do have some pretty big stuff coming up later this week. Durable goods and consumer confidence on Tuesday should move the market decent. Definitely NVIDIA earnings. And then on the 28th, we have quite a few things too. And Friday is going to be pretty crazy. Lots of red folder events at 7:30 and then 9 o'clock Central Time, so 8:30 and 10 o'clock. That'll be interesting on a Friday. Getting a little move up pre-market here. We'll find out in a couple minutes, but I wonder if this level is going to want to hold. If we break back above this value area low from Friday, around 533, that's also breaking above VWAP. So we could get a push higher if it holds above that level. I'd be looking for a move back to point of control at least. And then, I mean, if it holds above that, this thing could definitely go higher. I'm leaning more towards a pullback though. That's just my thought, but I'm going to stay flexible today. Good morning, K. George. How's it going? How was everyone's weekend? Did anyone do anything fun? Anything exciting? Volume is starting to come in, that's for sure. Good so far. We'll see what today brings. Yep. Might be interesting. We shall see. Getting quite a bit of volatility before the market even opens. Kind of looking like it wants to move up at the market open. If we get a move up to VWAP, that's sitting at around 526. And then we have London high right above that at about 538. So that could be a decent spot for a liquidity grab if we're just going to get a little pump at market open and then a dump back down. So we can watch for a reaction around this level, 525 to 535-ish. Market's opening in about 1 minute. Thanks for joining this morning, you guys. Let's make it a good trading day. Trade your plan, size appropriately. Let's be green. Woo! Opening up, that's for sure. Holy cow. Here we go. All right, making its way up to VWAP at about 526. Let's see if it breaks through that. We definitely had that pre-market volume to the upside. Definitely got follow through on that. Alrighty, and now we're headed back down. Yep, didn't break through any of those levels I was watching. VWAP, value area low. Definitely wasn't going for a long. Now we're getting that pullback. Here we go. Alright, so levels to the downside, like I was saying before, if it's going to keep going lower. It did grab that London low, and it's bouncing right now, but that got heavy fast. So if it continues down, kind of looking at this area right here at like 420 to 378 is the first area that it might bounce. We could also possibly look at entering short and writing it down there. If we put our stop loss up above that, it'd be like a 50-point stop loss. Looks like we're going lower. All right, I'm going into a small position short. 460.19 is where I entered. I'll pull my numbers onto the screen here in a second. 460. So since we grabbed that London liquidity, we got a little bit of a bounce, but no continuation up. That's what made me enter the short. And then I'm not going to let it go very high. But let's see if we can get down to maybe 378. Good morning, well-wisher. Good morning, Paul. So the momentum at open was definitely down. Came up to VWAP and had a pretty strong rejection. Came down to the London low and grabbed that liquidity and bounced a little bit. Let's see if we get some continuation back down. So far it's bouncing. Good morning, Shez. Come on, let's get back below that level. I don't think that it's holding. Might get stopped out. It's kind of a choppy open. There's not really follow through in either direction. It's coming up to my stop loss, it looks like. Interesting open. Definitely faked me out there. Alrighty. So it did grab that London liquidity and now it's bouncing up from there. Let's see if it breaks past VWAP. We still have a couple minutes until the opening range is set, but we can start drawing what we have so far. Choppy open, you guys. I don't like this. Now we're rejecting VWAP again. Didn't even come up quite to the 15-minute opening range high, but it's looking like it's rejecting. Looks like I had the right idea. I just should have put my stop loss higher, given it more room. That's all right. Hindsight's always 20/20, right? Good morning, Nick. How's it going? How was everyone's weekend? Nice and relaxing? Or did you guys do anything crazy? Man, you guys, this is choppy. There's no follow through in either direction. It opened up pretty bearish, grabbed that London liquidity, had a strong bounce. Now it's rejecting VWAP again, but not continuing back down. Not giving us a clear direction right now. Cheetramus, you had a relaxing weekend, huh? Didn't burn as many calories as me? Yeah. I'm still feeling a little bit tired from that competition that we did. Not as sore as I've been in the past, but definitely feeling tired. When I was talking about pre-market, I still feel like a pullback would be ideal. I'd love to see it come down further. Kind of retrace some of that move from Friday. I'd feel better about entering longs if we got a pullback. I kind of feel like I'd be chasing it at this point because we're already so high. Coming on down. Let's see how I react at this opening range low. See if we're actually going to get some continuation down. Maybe get that pullback that I was waiting for, hoping for. Let's see. Shez, you had nice, good weather. Awesome. The weather worked out for us too. When we went up there, so I stayed at an RV park with my kids that had like a water obstacle course. It was a Whibbit course, if you guys have ever heard of it. It's like those inflatables that are on top of a lake. So you can swim out there and play on the obstacle course. My kids had a lot of fun with it, but I was worried because it was raining Friday, but then it cleared up and got sunny and hot Saturday for them. All right, coming down to that 15-minute range low. If we do get a breakout to the downside, we definitely have some room to go lower. So I'd be open to taking that trade for sure. I wouldn't want to take the first break, maybe a pullback. Coming back to VWAP, anchor VWAP. If we take a short here, what would the risk to reward look like? Not too bad. All right, I'm going short. Trying it again. 464 is my entry. Anticipating the opening range break down to the downside. $464. Come on, let's get some continuation this time. Still holding below VWAP. Come on, let's break out of that 15-minute range. It's not wanting to go lower. I do like the 15-minute opening range break to the downside on this just because it would be going with the trend from last night. I just may have entered too early. Still super choppy, you guys. that going to be another instance where I put my stop loss in the wrong spot? Let's see what it's going to do here. Yeah, this is an ugly open so far, Shez. I don't like it. Might have to size down on my next couple trades if I find anything that I decide to take. Just because this is ugly. I still feel like it's going down. There's just no continuation. What are you going to do, Price? What are you doing? Still stuck inside this 15-minute opening range, you guys. This is ridiculous. Getting back below that anchored VWAP. This level right here at like 460 to 470, that's been holding. That was the London low, and it's not getting below it right now either. So if I'm going to enter a short, I guess we got to wait until it breaks and holds below that. That's a pretty strong support right now. Well, I guess I was right in saying that this No News Monday is going to be ugly. I didn't expect it to be this bad, though. What kind of range do we have here? On NQ, we have a 73-point range in the first 30 minutes. Yikes. the higher time frame charts don't really show much in terms of where we're going. We've been stuck kind of in this same range since like 4:30 this morning, 5:30 this morning. You said that ES is a little bit cleaner with a double top. Yeah, I think it was Scott who was saying earlier that ES and NQ aren't really the same today. Coming back up to overnight VWAP. Looking like it wants to break through. There's not a whole lot of movement or volume, I mean, behind any of these candles anymore. Breaking through VWAP, coming up to this 15-minute opening range high. Let's see how it reacts at that level. Interesting, you guys. Ugly, actually. That would be a better word to describe it. Ugly. Kind of getting a little bit of a rejection off of that opening range high. But again, no continuation either way. Taking the opening range break to the upside. Passed above VWAP. And broke outside the range. Let's see if it comes back up to point of control, possibly. The only problem is we do have London high above us. Looks like it might be grabbing that liquidity and rejecting. Yep. Looks like it might have been a little liquidity grab. Alrighty. Set my daily loss limit on that one. Choppy, choppy day. Okay, George, are you down or are you up? You said both. Still chopping around that opening range high. Sitting above VWAP. Curious to see if we do get some continuation up. There you go, locked it up. Good job, K. George. I definitely got chopped up this morning, that's for sure. At this point, I'm gonna see maybe what the initial balance looks like. Possibly see if we can take some trades off of that. But so far, I definitely got chopped up a little bit in the open. So levels overhead that I'd be watching at this point, point of control from Friday, which is also kind of right at like previous week's value area high. This is an interesting level at 575 to 580-ish. If it reclaims this level, then shorts could be done for the day. We could be going up. But we could reject there too. So I'd like to see how we react here. Yeah, not touching this choppiness, Nick. That's a smart plan. I definitely could have been a little bit more patient this morning. This is kind of the first move we've had since the New York Open where there's kind of been some continuation. Zooming out to the 5-minute, that's 2 good green candles so far. Let's see if it holds. First higher high if this closes up here. Looking at the 15-minute. We still have about 7.5 minutes until this candle closes, but looking good so far. And the fact that it broke through that London high at 538 and just had a small little pullback, but now we're getting continuation higher. Looks like we might be moving on up. Here we go. Here's that next level I'm watching, 577 to 583-ish. Let's see what we get. Did anyone take that 15-minute opening range break to the upside? Was not a bad setup. There you go, Scott. Nice job. Going up on low volume. Yeah. The whole morning has kind of been slow, honestly. Targeting Asia high with your runners. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if it gets all the way up there. Waiting for a hard rejection. Yeah. Definitely have some resistance overhead. it's slowing down so much. It did reclaim Friday's value area low, though. And then the fact that it did not have a big rejection at London high, I still feel like we are going to get some continuation up. It's just a matter of where it stops. Kind of seems like a see profit, take profit kind of day. Not getting much follow through. Well, at this point, just being patient, waiting for a reaction at this point of control level. Nick, you think if we break 596, it's bullish? I don't know, the overnight high is at 610. That was like the opening high. Right here. That was the opening candle from Sunday night. So it could still come up there and possibly reject. That could be a liquidity grab and back down. Looking at the higher time frame, this is definitely breaking out of that little downtrend. If this thing doesn't pull back today, I feel like at some point it's going to. I know it's dangerous saying that. Because you can't always expect the market to do what you think it's going to do. But that big move up, it just, I don't know, it looks like it's hanging off of the edge of a cliff. It's got to come back down at some point and establish a foundation, right? All right, let's start taking a look at where the session volume profile is. Still moving up. It's a slow, low volume grind up though. Really, it's been slow and low volume all morning. We had that initial pump in the morning. That was about it. Yeah, Scott, point of control down at 485. I have the same. The sentiment would have to change quite a bit for us to get down there though, because that's below all of VWAPs. Below 15-minute opening range high. Like, I feel like if it comes all the way down to point of control, then it's going to come down to the initial balance low too. And then possibly further. That could be the pullback that we get. So I'm not counting on it coming down to point of control right now. A recipe for a strong move down? Yeah. We just got to wait for it to start rejecting some of these levels. For now, it's holding above this value area low from Friday. If it doesn't break below that, then there's a couple levels above that it could still be moving up to. We got 11 minutes and our initial balance will be set. So let's see what we get there. Might not take another trade though if something doesn't show up. While we're waiting through this slow chop, you guys, if you haven't already, go hit that like button. I'd appreciate it. Give me something to get excited about with this choppy PA. All right, are we getting our pullback now? Decent volume. Let's see if it drops back below this opening range high. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. That was a strong bounce off of VWAP and the opening range high. Looks like we might get one more bounce before moving down, if we're gonna get a move lower. Maybe even up to this point of control at 577 before rejecting and coming down. I don't know. That would have been a nice bounce to take. Nice long off of VWAP right there. Alright, so far, this is our initial balance high. Still got about 6 minutes left though. Still moving up. Let's see if it retests this initial balance high and then continues higher, makes a new high, or if we get a sell-off from there. Because that was a decent rejection right there. If we don't get a good initial balance set up here in the next couple minutes, I might call it. This is ugly. Alright, chat, what are you guys trading right now? What are you waiting for? Or are you in a trade? Nick, you're waiting for a rejection at the 595, 600 level? Yeah, I could see that. That's kind of where I have Asia high marked. If we get up there though, I don't know. This is a slow grind. And the initial balance is almost set. So with how choppy this has been, we might not get a breakout from the initial balance high. And then I also see this point of control and previous week value area high level at like 575, 580, where there was quite a bit of resistance Friday. But yeah, with how choppy it is, I definitely would wait for like confirmation, a strong reaction at one of these levels. I don't want to enter in the middle of this chop zone. Right now we're just chopping in the middle though. Like even that nice bounce off of VWAP, no continuation. That's the name of the game today. So if I do find a good trade, which I'm doubting at this point, I'm not going to set my profit target too far out. Not the kind of day that you should expect a breakout home run trade. Yeah, I agree, Shez. Since we have IB high is pretty much set at this point. There is an opportunity for a failed auction set up here. We have a little bit of liquidity here to the left. Maybe come up and grab that liquidity and then reject, something like that. If it ever comes back up though. Right now it's not looking like it wants to. Yeah, I saw that too, Scott. Session point control moved up, which makes sense. This is where all the price action has been for the last 30 minutes. All right, getting some movement up. Yeah, that's a good question, Scott. I would say on a normal, like, trending day, it could easily break through this point of control, like if we were looking for a short to break through that. But on a choppy day like today, where there's not a whole lot of volume to break through, yeah, you never know, it could hold this and just kind of chop in this range for a while. Kind of between like initial balance high and VWAP-ish, be stuck in there. Wouldn't surprise me with how ugly this is right now. You said gold is looking good? I don't know. It looks a little choppy too. Not much is moving right now. Yeah, ES and NQ are not the same at all. ES is below VWAP. NQ is at least above it. ES looks a lot weaker. Very interesting. All right, we're getting that movement up towards initial balance high. Let's see what happens up there. Still didn't even make it up there yet. Look at all those wicks on the 5-minute chart. Starting to look a little bit weak. Or it could just be consolidation to break outside of initial balance high and continue higher. That's possible too. What are you guys thinking at initial balance high? Are we going to reject? Or is this thing going to continue the trend and continue higher? What's your vote, chat? What do you think? We got 2 people who think it's going to continue higher, huh? Let's see what happens. So far not breaking through. We do have this liquidity right here. Let's see if it grabs this area and rejects. Or if it keeps going. Looking like it wants to keep going. We have this point of control, previous week value area high. If it breaks above that, the only other thing where it might be a liquidity grab is this Asia high at 610. But honestly, at that point, I'm thinking it's going to be bullish for the day, and it could just come back down to point of control and move higher. If it comes all the way back up to Asia high, I probably won't trade at that point. Because I will have been wrong. Keep looking for it to drop, but the weakness just provides liquidity to continue up. Yeah, isn't it weird how it works like that? Alright, this 5-minute candle is closing below the range. Still not a ton of volume behind it though. Might be looking to continue higher. Alright, I got in short. 548.1 is my entry. Stop loss up above that wick. Let's see if we continue. So I could see this playing out a couple different ways. Since it has been kind of a slow grind up, the slow grind up could continue, so we could just get a tiny pullback, if any. It could possibly bounce off of VWAP and continue higher. Or this thing could just decide to dump and go all the way to the bottom of the range. Either possibility, I feel like, is something to consider. Did grab this liquidity and reject. Let's see if it continues though. we get a little further movement down, I'm definitely going to trail my stop pretty aggressively because I don't like this choppy PA. This level here at 519, that's the 15-minute opening range high, and it's sitting right at VWAP, so that's a possible area where it could bounce. So I'll watch for that. But if this thing gets heavy, I could see it going down to the bottom of the initial balance. Not counting on it right now. Come on. Still chopping around that point of control for the session. Let's see if we can hold below there. Nick, your stop loss is at 550. That's tight. Yeah, I'm with you. I want to wait for it to move a little bit further away from my entry before putting my stop loss too tight, just to give it some room to breathe. But as soon as we get closer to this level here at 519, I'm definitely going to trail more aggressively. All right, so we're about to break below this value area low, which to me is a good sign for shorts if we can hold below that. That's kind of been the support so far on this move up. Breaking below that will probably hit some stop losses from this morning, and that's below levels from Friday, but so far it's bouncing. Come on. Ah, man. I'm tempted to kill it early. Still holding that value area low level. Shez, are you still in your short? You had a good entry if you got in at 565. You definitely anticipated that one. All right, I'm closing mine. Got out a little bit early. Exited at 555. I didn't like that buy up. So I'll move this down. That's where I stopped out, 555. And now it's continuing up above initial balance high anyway. I don't like price action today, guys. Ugly. I'm gonna call it a day there. Took a couple losses, locked out a couple of my accounts, and I'm gonna be done. Hopefully tomorrow's better. All right, guys, if you haven't already, hit that like button on your way out. Join us in Discord, and then we will see you tomorrow morning. Have a great one, guys. Take care.